Yes, I have heard of the transplant games. I believe they're the transplant Olympics. I think they're every other year, and they are a very popular event. A friend of Virginia and I, John Haney, who in fact he's a recipient. 13 years ago, I believe he got his kidney. He's an avid tennis player, and he participates. And I should put in a plug. John Haney also started a website called Organomics.org, which is following this debate about incentives for organs. Yes, I mean, in fact, the fact that the Olympics exists just is testament to the fact that so many people regain their health and become so vigorous that they can do sports at a obviously a very high level. And it's a very, I understand that it's just a very, very positive, wonderful communal kind of effort. So
let's go to our next call from State College, Pennsylvania. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I was wanted to talk to the girl. I had a nephew who had a kidney transplant when he was 6, and about going on 2 years ago, his the ones that he had failed, and he's still on the list. His mother has already lost a kidney. They removed one of hers. Our mother, that would be my sister, our mother died with kidney cancer and diabetes and all that. I myself have shed protein in my kidney, and I have heart problems and diabetes and all that. And you said, the lady said that diabetes is connected a lot with your kidney failure, you know, people with diabetes and all that. And I've done a lot to try to take care of myself in the last few years, and I've lost 40-some pounds, which is good. But now my eyes are getting bad also. And my mother always had problems. I know this isn't kidney, but it is connected with her eyes. Have they ever thought about helping diabetes patients with their eyes, since we are low income? My husband and I are both retired, and his problems are fourfold.
Thanks. Virginia Prestrell, when you prepared to go into this, how many hours did you go through consulting with doctors and going through a lot of the things that our caller was talking about?
Well, I didn't keep count. It really wasn't that many for me, because as a donor, first of all, you have to be really healthy. And one of the problems that, you know, Sally is very unusual because she is healthy except for her kidneys. And a lot of people who are kidney patients have a lot of other problems, including diabetes, including high blood pressure, other things. And often their relatives do too, because these things run in families or it's lifestyle, whatever the causes may be. A lot of them are not entirely understood, which limits potential donors. I fortunately, I'm blessed with having fairly low blood pressure, low on the side of normal, and that was a big issue. That was helpful. But for me, it was there were a couple of relatively short visits, an hour, half an hour, so. And then there was kind of one marathon day where I had lots of tests, and it was maybe 4 hours. So I had, you know, EKG tests and MRIs and that sort of thing.
Sally Sattel, what was your first reaction when Virginia Prestrell said, yeah, I'll give you my kidney?
Well, immense gratitude, of course. I have to say, I guess a little bit of hesitation, just because so many other people had told me that and it hadn't quite happened. Although with Virginia, I thought, I had a sense that it would, that she was someone who was literally a woman of her word, and that actually it also didn't surprise me, although it surprised almost everyone I knew, that it would be someone, if I did find a donor, it would be somebody who was just a deeply principled person, frankly, not an especially sentimental person, but a deeply principled person, and someone who could be very dispassionate about a serious situation. I didn't really expect it to be somebody that I'd had a lifelong friendship with. And in fact, to be honest, you go through a lot of, you can imagine, it's a psychologically complex phenomenon. And when you get an organ from someone, you enter into a different kind of friendship. Now, in the case of Virginia and me, it became very, very close and very, very intensely rewarding. But there are some people that you wonder, would this sense of gratitude over time become, would it metamorphose into a kind of constricting obligation? And I'm not the only person to have thought of this. In fact, there is an entire book written by a sociologist and a historian, Fox and Swayze, called The Tyranny of the Gift, which they describe it as a vice-like entanglement that you have with someone who gives you something special. Now, that's not my experience at all with Virginia. It's a beautiful friendship, and I'll be grateful to her for the rest of my life. But and in fact, I've said to people, if I could have picked my ideal donor, it would have been someone like Virginia. In fact, it would have been Virginia. I guess you could say that's easy to say in retrospect, but I honestly think so, because she had such a really a clinical attitude to this, and I don't mean unfeeling at all, but she was rational. She went through all the risks and benefits, and I think that's why there was, Virginia, right, like a 3-day lag between when you heard about it and when you called me, as opposed to a 10-minute lag. I mean, she did her research and, of course, talked to Steve, and I should say Steve Postrel is someone I'm enormously grateful to, because two people who were considering donating to me, in fact, they were very sad about it, but their husbands wouldn't let them, and I respect that, of course, but so it's complicated.
Our guests are Virginia Postrel this morning, who is in L.A., and Sally Sattel, who is in Denver. And just last March this year, Virginia Postrel gave a kidney to Sally Sattel at a hospital. It's about 2 miles that way from where I'm sitting, the Washington Hospital Center. We go to Greensboro, North Carolina. You're on the air.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, too, for what you're doing, raising awareness. My sister is on dialysis. She's had a kidney transplant in the past by my sister. My sister gave her an organ, and that has failed. And so she's been on dialysis for 2 years, waiting on a kidney. And I've heard of a program where you can, family members can swap. Like, I'm not her blood type, but if I found a family member, another family member, another family that is her blood type, they would give her a kidney, and then I could maybe give them a kidney. Have you ever heard of this program?
Virginia Postrel?
Yes, this is, it's called paired donation, P-A-I-R-E-D, donation. So if you can go on the internet and do a Google search for that phrase, you'll find information about it. There are a number, it's not done everywhere. It's starting, a number of hospitals are starting to do it. It's complex, but it's exactly as you described. It's a way of, when you have somebody, there's often somebody who is perfectly willing to be a donor, usually a family member, but it could be a friend, but just doesn't have a compatible blood type. And then out there someplace else, there's another pair of people who the donor has your sister's blood type and the recipient has a different one, your blood type. So yes, there are. I know Johns Hopkins has done it. There have been some other hospitals around the country that are experimenting with it, and it really does have a great potential to. It won't completely solve the problem, but if it became more common, it would reduce the problem substantially, because there is a question about the law. Whether valuable consideration would include, could rule out this paired donation. So far, nobody's gotten in trouble. Hospitals are proceeding with it. It's got a lot of support in the transplant community, but there have been proposals to just tweak that federal law so that it makes it clear that you can do this. But if you want to look it up, paired donation is the phrase.
According to U.S.